Go.
Hi, I'm Casey Cohen. I'm here with Stephen Marcus, and we're going to talk a little bit about basketball, a little bit about sports, and really sport management overall. So, Steve, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Springfield, Massachusetts. About a 10.5-hour trip from Raleigh driving-wise, or a quick 2-hour flight.
Okay, so growing up near the Basketball Hall of Fame
Sure.
there in Springfield,
Yep.
did that influence you going into the sport of basketball?
I don't know that I would say influence me. Surprisingly, people from the area don't really go to the Hall of Fame. It's kind of a touristy thing. I would go every once in a while, but I don't know if it influenced me more being around, growing up playing different sports and things like that. Kind of influenced me to stay in sports and stay in basketball.
Okay, so going into college,
Yep.
did you know you wanted to work with the basketball program?
Yeah. So I originally, one of the coaches at my high school knew one of the staff members at St. Bonaventure, where I went to college, and kind of called him up and said, "Hey, I got a kid here who wants to be a manager. Do you guys have anything open?" He said, "Yeah, send them up, for an interview and talk with them, and he's got to get into school." So I chatted with them, in April, my senior year of high school. I kind of decided late, but went up there and knew that I wanted to work with the basketball team.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what kind of relationships did you have with the staff? How did you form them as well?
At St. Bonaventure?
Yes.
It was just, kind of making them be able to trust me. That was the biggest thing. I kind of kept my head down as a freshman and did whatever they said. I got close to two of the we only brought in a two-man freshman class, so I kind of got close with those two. And anytime they would be in the gym, I'd be in the gym with them, just kind of getting close with them. But just so that the staff would trust me at the end of the day. That's how I, wanted to build my relationships with them.
So you touched on that. So how did you? What kind of relationships did you form with the players? Like, do you talk to them every day?
Yeah.
Or how does that?
I still talk to. I was lucky enough that my senior year we had a great senior class. I lived with 3 of the players in like a little townhouse type setting, but I was close. I never considered myself a manager. They always considered me just a part of the team, and I was lucky enough to to feel that. But I still talk to them. Most of them to this day.
Okay. So a little bit on the school side, how was the workload from being a manager, balancing that, and still being? I mean, you're still a student, like
Right.
you're a student first.
Yeah, that was tough. It was tough at times, but you just had to utilize your time properly. So when I would, I had laundry duty on Friday nights. I'd try to, knock out my homework for the weekend so I could enjoy my weekend, or, I would go check study hall and just sit in study hall for an hour with the players and knock out my homework there. But it was just, definitely balancing your time and stuff was the toughest part.
Okay, so college ended. Where did you go from there?
So after college, I was hired by the Boston Celtics to work in their front office, basketball operations. And I worked mostly with their D-League team in Portland, Maine, the Maine Red Claws. So I spent the last 2 seasons in Portland, Maine with the Red Claws of the NBA D-League.
Okay, so you had that job. What other jobs have you had, not just regarding basketball, but in general, any task or?
I've done a lot. My first real basketball job, I worked for a company called Basketball. They put on like tournaments and AAU tournaments and high school tournaments. So I did that for 2 summers in high school. Just kind of learning the whole aspects of AAU basketball. I was an AAU coach throughout my college career. I worked for Adidas remotely, doing some stuff for them for some of their big tournaments, McDonald's All-American Game, Adidas Nations, Adidas Euro Camp. And then randomly one summer, a family member of mine needed help. He was did like lawn care.
Mm-hmm.
So I helped with that, mowing lawns and trimming bushes and hedges and stuff like that. So I did that for a summer, and it was tough work.
Any way to make $1.
Exactly.
So what's your official title here at NC State?
My official title is graduate assistant.
Okay. So what are some? Take me through like the day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
within
So
that.
it kind of changes on a day-to-day basis. I check classes in the morning to make sure all of our guys are in class, and I have one guy on the team who I really kind of look after and make sure that he's in all his stuff. Kind of paying attention to him more than some of the other guys. But then it could be anything from running to ship out some packages to recruits, recruiting books and stuff like that, to going to get coach's card detailed, to picking up dinner for the staff or something like that. So it changes on a day-to-day basis, but I enjoy it.
Okay, so are there any like major difficulties where like stuff's just hard because
Yeah.
there's only one
Right,
graduate
yeah.
assistant,
Yeah,
where
it's
other
tough.
colleges have more.
It's tough at times, only having one, but I kind of enjoy it because it's selfishly to say, but it's kind of all me.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy that part of it, but at times it's tough to balance, schoolwork, my own schoolwork, and checking classes of the other guys, and et cetera, et cetera. But at times it's tough, but I enjoy it. I embrace it.
Mm-hmm. So you said you have a great relationship with the staff at St. Bonaventure. You still know those guys. How has the staff been here?
It's been great. I've learned a ton, from Coach Gottfried and all the coaches, Coach Early, Coach Scheuer, and Coach Pierre, as well as Coach Dunlap. All of them have been head coaches at one point or another. So just kind of trying to soak up as much as I can from them, and learn just as much as I can on a day-to-day basis. I try to, write one thing down that I learn every day, and I keep a little journal, and I try to write one thing down every day that I learned from them.
Okay. So now, bigger picture, how long do you plan on being here?
I don't know. It's technically a 2-year program. I don't know if I'm going to stay for 2 years. I don't know if I'm going to run that out. If something pops up that I feel like is a better opportunity or better for my career, I'm going to take that. But as of right now, I'm here for 2 years.
Okay, so you said better opportunity, better career. What is your dream job to like?
Yep.
What is that?
I want to work back. I want to get back in the NBA and work in the front office of an NBA team as a scout or basketball operations or a general manager of some point of some type. But I enjoy the college game.
Mm-hmm.
I like the college game. I like the recruiting aspect of it. I don't like the checking classes and making sure guys are on time and stuff like that. But but getting back in the NBA would be the dream.
So getting back into the NBA, what would be a step?
I think the first step is having great talent here at NC State. Dennis Smith and Omir and Malik and Terry and all those guys who have a chance to play in the NBA one day. I field calls every day from NBA scouts and just kind of showing them that I know the game as well, and building a relationship with them through our players is why I chose to come to NC State, because we have such great talent here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So who are some of the people that have helped you get here at this point in your career?
Obviously, my mom and dad have been great. I wouldn't be able to do this. Wouldn't be able to do this without them, without their support. I have a couple older, mentors that are kind of like grandparents to me, that have always been helpful. And if I ever have a question, business-wise or career move-wise, I kind of go through them. But basketball-wise, it's Coach Schmidt at St. Bonaventure and Coach Kern at St. Bonaventure, and then a guy by the name of TJ Gazmola who works for Adidas. Those have been kind of my biggest basketball mentors. Jay Murphy, who played at Boston College in the late or early 1980s, and then the NBA for a little bit. I've gotten to know him over the past 5 or 6 years, and those are just some of my basketball mentors.
Okay, so if it wasn't basketball, what would it be?
I'd be in some type of sales, maybe medical sales or insurance or something like that. I think I got a big enough personality where I could, sell an Eskimo ice. So.
Yeah. So, if you could go back,
Yep.
are there any major changes you would make?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know about major changes. I had a baseball coach in high school who, kind of said regrets suck.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to live my life without having any regrets.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fast lifestyle at times, but it's been a great life so far, and I don't think I have anything that I would go back and change right now that I can think of.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
So wrapping it up, where has been your favorite place to live so far?
Oh, that's tough. Raleigh's been cool. I've loved Raleigh. I loved Portland, Maine.
Mm-hmm.
Great food. Living right on the water. The winters were tough, so I'm definitely looking forward to the winters down here. Going to school up in Buffalo, New York was cold, but Buffalo's great, a great city. But so far, I think I'm enjoying Raleigh the most.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.